It looks like the last Epstein drop confirms our suspicions of Trump being compromised. Epstein files: Trump was compromised by Israel, had Mossad links and Kushner influence. January 31st, 2026. Story highlights: newly released Epstein files allege Donald Trump was compromised by Israel, claim Mossad links, and accuse Jared Kushner of covert influence. And what does that say about Ivana then? The new Epstein file release claims that U.S. President Donald Trump was compromised by Israel and Jeffrey Epstein was a spy working for the Israeli intelligence agency Mossad. The FBI report citing these claims to a confidential human resource was among the 3 million plus documents released by the Department of Justice on January 30th, 2026. The document also alleges that U.S. officials were under the influence of Israel, Russia, and the UAE. The report alleges collusion between Kushner and Chabad, and we have covered that in previous videos, how Kushner and Ivana are seen leaving Chabad synagogues or places of worship, and Chabad is what I refer to as fake Judaism. These are fake Jews. These are actually mystic. These are occultists. They practice necromancy and child sacrifice and Lord knows what else. And they have tunnels that they've admitted to that have been discovered. Okay? A state-sanctioned visible movement of Hasidic Judaism. And again, we saw Ben Shapiro and Lutnick and Trump at some ceremony, some Chabad ceremony before the election. That's where Lutnick claims that they hatched up the scheme to get Elon to head up Doge. It alleges that Kushner and his family engaged in money laundering, corrupt business practices, and violation of election laws. The CHS points to a contact person, journalist Ken Kurson, who knows everything. List all present, including yourself. Do not include the CHS. SA. Type of contact, other contact type. Encrypted messaging app. Date of report, 10/19/2020. Caption: confidential human source was asked by the handling agent about information he/she may be aware of related to improper domestic or foreign influence over the electoral process in the U.S. CHS already provided some of this information documented in previous reports, but he/she expanded on several matters as described below. Harvard law professor, like I always say, it's not a scandal if Harvard isn't involved. Alan Dershowitz. That monster. CHS learned that Dershowitz influenced many students from wealthy families. For example, Josh Kushner, Josh and Jared Kushner were Mossad agents. Jared Kushner were both his students. Dershowitz told CHS that if he were young again, he would be holding a stun gun as an Israeli intelligence Mossad agent. CHS believed Dershowitz was co-opted by Mossad and subscribed to their mission. CHS still continues to communicate occasionally for Dershowitz. See previous reporting. Jeffrey Epstein was represented by Dershowitz. CHS remembered Dershowitz tell Alex Acosta, U.S. Attorney of Southern District of Florida at the time, that Epstein belonged to both U.S. and allied intelligence services. CHS shared phone calls between Dershowitz and Epstein during which he/she took notes. After these calls, Mossad would then call Dershowitz to debrief. Epstein was close to the former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak, and trained as a spy under him. Barak believed Netanyahu was a criminal. Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the United Arab Emirates are allied against Qatar, Turkey, Iran, and Syria. One of CHS's, who presumably worked, asked CHS a lot of questions about Epstein. CHS became convinced that Epstein was a co-opted Mossad agent. The credible, confidential human resource was told by Harry Tonosodimbidjo that Trump has been compromised by Israel, and Jared Kushner was the brain behind his organization and his presidency. Harry also introduced the CHS to the Indonesian CIA. HT is an Indonesian media and real estate tycoon who is among the top 50 richest in Indonesia. He bought Trump's Beverly Hills property in 2019 at an inflated price of $13.5 million and still has close ties to Trump. He's dubbed as the Donald Trump of Indonesia and is building 2 Trump projects in West Java and Bali. The informant quotes Renda Tillerson, wife of Trump's Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, that Kushner was running a rival State Department operation. Renda and Rex both told CHS they had been under intense surveillance. Renda told CHS she can't wait for the FBI to call her so that she can tell them everything she knows. Kushner was influenced by Harvard Law professor Dershowitz, the lawyer of Jeffrey Epstein. He influenced a lot of students. Dershowitz told CHS that if he were young again, he would be holding a stun gun. CHS believed Dershowitz was co-opted by Mossad and subscribed to their mission. CHS still continues to communicate occasionally for Dershowitz. The informant said that he shared phone calls between Dershowitz and Alex Acosta, that Epstein belonged to both U.S. and Allied intelligence services. And we did look into Trump's cabinet and discovered that Jared Kushner's father was pardoned by Trump. Is he a 4-time felon? $80 results for Kushner. For Jared, Staff Secretary, sent July 20th, 2018. Kushner Jared C. EOP/who. Attached is an op-ed from Secretary of State Pompeo on religious freedom. State hopes this to be published in Monday's USA Today paper. Affirmative clearance requested from NSC. Please send edits and comments by 9 a.m. tomorrow. Others are welcome and encouraged to comment, but an affirmative clearance is not required. Edits and comments. It's a lot of people in there, though. Let's see what else. July 22nd, 2018. For review, State Department Potomac Declaration and Plan of Action. Attached is the Potomac Declaration and Plan of Action that the State Department plans to publish on its website and through social media on July 26th, following its ministerial to advance religious freedom. These documents serve as framework for national multinational activity. The international community is encouraged to draw on the plan of actions provisions when responding to violations and abuses of religious freedom or instances of persecution on account of religion, belief, or non-belief. Again, July 23rd, 2018. Friendly reminder of the below deadline. For review, State Department Potomac Declaration and Plan of Action. So these are the people that have quite a bit of influence in our nation. There's quite a few of them. I don't know nearly all of these names. Kellyanne Conway, that's interesting. Was she the, July 25th, 2018, attached our remarks that Ambassador Haley plans to use tomorrow during the State Department's ministerial to advance religious freedom. I'm not seeing his name in this one. I'm not seeing him in here either. Friday, September 21st, 2018, remarks that Director Gina Haspel plans to deliver at an event on Monday at the University of Louisville. Please do not distribute widely. So these are all the people that get to edit speeches and plans. Okay. February 15th, 2018. Staff Secretary regarding Florida school shooting. Draft TPs on Florida shooting. Talking points for administration officials. Attached are proposed talking points that the White House may distribute to cabinet members and other administration officials. So these are people who control the narrative, make all the plans. Moreover, McMillan, Jackson, Tremble Black, and Curry were members of the Crips. And as discussed above, Jackson and McMillan communicated through Facebook about potential investigations and offered each other tips on where and how they could maximize their earnings from their sex trafficking operations. Facebook. Get off of Facebook. Facebook is evil. Lots of co-conspirators too. His business card from Miami modeling agency. Miller offered that he was affiliated with a modeling agency. He then raped Evans. Miami modeling agency. Sextortion, crowdsourcing, enticement, and coercion 2. Videos and pretending to work for a modeling agency. I'm telling you, it's because modeling agencies are, for one main reason, it's to sexualize, groom, traffic women, young girls. Modeling agencies. We have quite a bit about Brunel. This is interesting. It just had a link from Story Cows. Modeling agency MC2 involved in sex trafficking. She sent that to Jeffrey. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? I tried the link. There's nothing there. MC2 agency in Miami. Miami modeling agency. To Jeffrey Epstein. Story Cowles, Wednesday, August 11th, 2010, at 9:07 p.m. Subject: MC2 modeling agency involved in sex trafficking. Fashion copious. Sent from Story's iPhone. And how does he reply? Please do not send me any more of these. Thanks. Confidential Due Diligence Report. Publications. Copyright 2010. Newstext LLC. All rights reserved. Newstext Web Blogs. Copyright 2010. Brand X. LA Times. July 30th, 2010. 658 words. Headline: Brand X Files. Cara Diogardi out at Idle, Montana Fishburne porn tape reported. Brazil's sex tourism boom. Byline: LA Times. Body: the Justice Department is investigating Jeffrey Epstein in connection with child trafficking. Probe of the convicted billionaire widens to include a famous modeling agency. The FBI is also investigating Epstein's friend, Jean-Luc Brunel, whose MC2 modeling agency allegedly appears to have been a source of young girls from overseas who ended up on Epstein's private jets. Marianne Ryan, Administrative Exchange Administrative Group. To Philip DeLuca, regarding Jeffrey Epstein. Phil, this email is a summary of the rapid response meeting regarding Jeffrey Epstein. It involves an ask of William, so I am sending to you first. The RR meeting, attended by Catherine Keating, Ann Verdon, the current and former banker Kevin, Jim, and Bonnie Perry from Risk and Art and I. Jeffrey Epstein is a friend of Jess S., and Catherine feels that PB, along with William, should meet with him to explain the HT project and explain the bank's recognition on the project and whether Epstein, if further exposed, could have a potential serious impact. Epstein was released in July from house arrest, and the Palm Beach Post carried 2 articles saying DOJ may be investigating for child trafficking via a modeling agency he is part owner in. I think Catherine believes that after the briefing on HT that Jess would need to point blank ask Jeffrey the status of any criminal investigations. Catherine made sure we knew that no one on today's call was in favor of having retained him as a client. Seems that all is due to Jess's personal relationship. Note, he has about $212 million in the bank, and some in JP Morgan. Is that what JPMS? Old Bear PCS. I asked legal and asked on the call about if we were ever subpoenaed, and seems it is no, which I find very interesting, as Bear was. I also spent a good deal of time looking at his assistant, or young lady, he brought over from Prague, or someplace like that. So some lady with him from Prague had an account. She was involved in some of the detailed escapades. Is that Ghislaine? She opened accounts in PB, sponsored by him. Or is this that other woman that we've heard about, that people suspect was still getting money funneled? Like she was kind of like a go-between. If Epstein's still alive, she's the one that's taking the money out. Because somebody is taking money out of his accounts since he's been dead. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. Oh my, were her debit transactions enlightening as compared to countless stories related to his escapades. Lots of salon, lingerie shops, drug stores, New York, Palm Beach, and in St. Thomas, his places of residence, plus lots of video like Girls Gone Wild and some other shops not fit for my good Catholic upbringing. The transactions are old, '05 to '08. Besides frequent spa-like charges, it has died down. Surprised she was never subpoenaed. Yeah, we're all surprised about that. The one new concerning thing is the one article about the DOJ investigation is saying they brought underage girls to the U.S. via a modeling agency, M2, that is owned by a guy named Brunel. Turns out, the banker said today, we extended Epstein a loan in relation to this modeling agency. It appears to be a legit modeling agency. If girls were exploited via their contract or arrangement, it would be hard for us to tell. Bottom line, we need to meet with Jess to explain HT, and then Jess could decide the next steps. Typed on my BB, so sorry for typos. I do have a PB rapid response memo I can forward as well. There you have it. Let that sink in. She literally has never been subpoenaed. I have to get her name. Here's one that looks like it got taken down. Let me see if I can go back without messing everything up. Oh, kicked me out. Did it? Let's try again. All right, so let me find it again. I can't find it right now, but I did find this one. FBI, crisis intake. Epstein, Jeffrey, child sex trafficking, 8/30/2019. On 8/30/2019 at 4:56 p.m. Eastern Time. Redacted. Called the FBI National Threat Operations Center to report information relating Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Provided the following information. In July 2014, Redacted took her then 14-year-old daughter, personal identifiers refused, to a modeling agency in Manhattan. Was scouted by the modeling agency. Believes the modeling agency's name was Redacted. Why? Notes she could go through her emails and find the address of the agency. While in the waiting room, Maxwell and a young girl came in. Remembers Maxwell looking at Redacted and then going to the front desk to inquire about Redacted, remembers feeling uneasy at the way Maxwell looked at whatever now identified Maxwell due to her face and does not remember anything about the young girl. This is really hard to understand with so much redactions. When blank and blank met with blank, they were informed blank would go to a young face retreat in a mansion in Manhattan. They were told the retreat was only for the girls, and they would learn more about modeling and give advice on how to walk and what types of clothes to wear. They were not told where the mansion was, unless they signed a contract. Blank said she had a bad feeling about it, and they did not sign with them. They did sign with different modeling agency. Blank and blank or blank was able to chaperone everything with blank until blank was 18 years old. Yeah, that is really shady. Whose mansion? Was this Trump's modeling agency? Wow, I'm not understanding why so much is redacted in this. I mean, I know why they did it. They're protecting people, but Bondi's going to have to be held accountable for this. FBI, Jeffrey Epstein, child sex trafficking, July 9th, 2020. On July 9th, 2020, at 8:52 a.m., Matt Sharkey, wow, that's a whole lot of redacted, submitted an online tip to the FBI National Threat Operations Center via tipsfbi.gov regarding child pornography potentially related to Ghislaine Maxwell. Threat to life? False. Submitted text. This was posted on Reddit and seems to be a backdoor into a modeling agency website featuring underage girls and soliciting underage girls to produce pornography. It is possible that this is linked to Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. What was the exact crime that occurred? Solicitation of minors for sex. When did the crime incident occur? Online, ongoing. And it probably is still ongoing. Where did the crime incident occur? Matt Sharkey. Wow, look at all this redaction here. This was posted on Reddit and seems to be a backdoor into a modeling agency website. Underage girls, listing underage girls produce pornography. Okay, so just repeating here. Brunel is a 50-plus French playboy who was formerly part owner of Karen, a Paris-based modeling agency. His partner in crime was Jean-Luc Brunel, owner and talent scout of the MC2 modeling agency. Epstein coincidentally invested $1 million in the MC2 kitty porn modeling agency that I guess was on loan from J.P. Morgan. Although he had $200 million in his bank account, so what does he need loans from the bank for? But I believe that's the one that got taken down. Yeah. From Redacted, March 10th, 2011, to J.E. Jail. I guess that's Jeffrey Epstein. So who's this from? Why is that redacted? Press called Blank's parents' house asking about her and the modeling agency. Aaron Nanda. That's who it was forwarded from. And again, it's redacted to who it was sent to. Huh. Haven't heard from you in a long time. Hope all is well. Have you been able to decide yet? Best, Aaron. No words from Oliver. I'm vacant now. Wanted you to know. Has asked her modeling agency help her move. Okay. From Redacted. Skyped, redacted, pretty nice. Couldn't see her face very well. She also used to be a booker for a modeling agency. Might have other candidates. Who? It sounds like a possible another groomer, another Oprah here, getting girls for them. I think she will do well after our conversation. She thinks I am Blank. Blank could come any day. Which day works best? Blank is waiting for the visa. My guess, it will be ready Tuesday. Please let me know if I could fly on Friday to Brussels and come to Paris on Sunday or Monday. Who is that, and who are they talking about? Why is this redacted? Who is Pam Bondi, the Trump administration protecting? 2, redacted. There should be a package coming from a modeling agency, Wilhelmina, to my attention this week or early next week to HBRK. Please keep an eye out for it for me. We then need to FedEx to Poland. Thanks. Are they another child trafficking modeling agency? Wilhelmina Models is one of the world's largest modeling and talent agencies. It's in the Netherlands. So that's how they're getting girls from that region, I imagine. She was the Queen of the Netherlands from 1890 to 1848. Oh, it's headquartered in New York City. Okay. Great. LA, Miami, London. Wilhelmina Cooper. Schwartz, McCarthy. They make big money off of these girls. I wish parents would stop pushing their children into these grooming industries. Stop glamorizing them. There are so many victims. To Jeffrey from Protected. Hi, last night I have met with a guy shopping around for a modeling agency. Indian guy from SF has been working with G. Soros for 15 years and was in charge of all Asian operations. Rusty, that I have seen with you, seems to be his partner. He has asked me if you were involved in the modeling business. I said that as far as I knew, this was the last thing you wanted to be involved with. I am waiting for them to contact me. I will give you more details tomorrow. Friday, December 4th, 2009. Wow. Indian guy from San Francisco working with Soros for 15 years, in charge of all Asian operations. Yep. Shopping around for modeling agency. United States District Court for the Southern District of New York. Government in the United States Virgin Islands versus J.P. Morgan Chase Bank. Videotaped deposition of Mary Casey. And on. Understanding source of wealth, activities within an account, ensuring that it's in keeping with your understanding of the client. Line of business or business correct. That is correct. And what were those separate conversations? We have a process for escalation of reputational risk issues, and in the course of that process, we had meetings related to that. I'm sure you did. And then you paid off a bunch of people. Okay, the next page contains an article, a news article. Correct. And the next pages also contain additional news articles. Correct, or at least one additional news article. So that is that the norm that prior to the rapid response meeting, any derogatory information would be collected and provided to the folks who were going to participate in the meeting. It's relative. Relevant to the client, I presume. Yes? Okay. Then you get to a relationship list. Do you see that? Hold on. Yes. Okay. And it goes on for a few pages, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And at the very end it says PCM market value. 121,571,000. Correct. So you'll recall in 2006 when you had listed the amount in his accounts, it was 32 million. Do you recall that? I do. And now, following the indictment and a few weeks after his conviction, his accounts have grown to 121 million. Correct? Wow. Yep. Following the indictment and a few weeks after his conviction, that was a lot of money that went into his account. Like nearly $100 million. Of all these accounts here combined, yes, some of them are not his, but yes, these are Jeffrey Epstein relationship list. Party name, Jeffrey Epstein, correct? And if you look at, on the first page, Financial Trust Company, that is Jeffrey Epstein's account, correct? Financial Trust Company is, yes. And that account contains 112 million of the 121 million, correct? And I will represent to you, I counted how many accounts are included on this relationship list. And it's 72. That seems about right, correct. Of open accounts? No, of all accounts listed on here. Oh, whether they were opened in the past and closed? Yes, could be. You have no reason to disagree that you're not seeing approximately 72 accounts listed here. I mean, eyeballing it, that sounds right. Okay, and you asked me my next question, which is a number of the accounts are inactive, correct? A number of them are marked closed, yes. From Protected to Jeffrey Epstein regarding Protected. See, that's even better for you. Blank is an assistant who used to work in modeling agency. Viva. She is crazy, not a model, in French. So what, was she a recruiter, a groomer? And who? Why is that redacted? Subject, Epstein ducks modeling agency suit over improper service. Law 360, April 25th, 2019. Billionaire sex offender Jeffrey Epstein ducked a modeling agency's lawsuit Wednesday when a Florida appeals court ruled the business had failed to properly serve him with the complaint at his primary residence on a private island in the Caribbean. Who was that judge? Florida Appeals Court. Florida's 3rd District Court of Appeal said service of the complaint by Miami-based MC2 Model and Talent LLC and its owner, Jean-Luc Brunel, on an office supervisor at Epstein's U.S. Virgin Islands business address did not comply with the requirements under Florida law, and that the suit should be dismissed without prejudice, meaning it could be refiled. Was it? Argued that Brunel and MC2 never attempted to serve him at his primary residence. So that was it? Okay. You can walk. You gotta be kidding me. Brunel and MC2 sued Epstein in January 2015 in Miami, claiming the notoriety and bad publicity stemming from sexual assault and prostitution charges against Epstein cost the agency business. Brunel has been linked to Epstein and has been accused by at least one victim of supplying Epstein with underage girls. Was Trump supplying Epstein with underage girls until Trump trained Epstein how to get his own through his own modeling agency? With Brunel, I don't know. I mean, obviously, he had Brunel mentoring him as well. My Lord, there's so much. From Jeffrey to Protected. Look at what I found on the internet. Unbelievable. I can't pull up. Orlando, Florida escort agency. French modeling agency owner Jean-Luc Brunel, who co-owns MC2 agency in Miami Beach, escorts stings a time to meet and find themselves ensnared in a most popular grown-up girl. What? The manual to finding Miami Beach, Florida escorts for no strings attached. French modeling agency owner Jean-Luc Brunel, who co-owns the MC2 agency. Powys Call Girls. Professional London Girls for You. Destin, Florida Escort. Monrovia, California. Blank Women. Escort Girls in Miami. What? And where are you currently employed? With Jeffrey Epstein. How long have you been employed with Jeffrey Epstein? Since February 2005. What do you do for him? My position is called a house manager. So basically my duties is to make sure that house is in good order when he is around visiting. And have your duties always been the same since February 2005 through, yes, the present, yes. Okay, have you ever had your deposition taken before? No, this is my first time. All right, the rules are pretty simple. So who hired you to work with Jeffrey Epstein in February of 2005? Who hired me? Right. I got the phone call from my agency because I signed with agency that Jeffrey Epstein looking for the position in Palm Beach. And did you know Jeffrey Epstein before working with him? No. Look at all of this redacted. Oh, Pam Bondi's got to be held accountable for this. Look at all the protecting they're doing of pedophiles. Child rapists. Pam Bondi is a child rapist protector. She might be a child rapist herself. And when you started in 2005, when you heard that there was a job position with Jeffrey Epstein, did you interview for that position? Yes. Who did you interview with? First I got interviewed with Ghislaine Maxwell, and that's Ghislaine Maxwell, right? And where did that interview take place? In New York. And it was for the position of the house manager in Palm Beach, right? Right. That's at 358 Albrillo Way. After that interview, what's your next contact with either Ghislaine Maxwell Jeffrey or anybody? My second interview with Jeffrey Epstein after a few days in his office on Madison Avenue. Did you talk about salary with him? No. After I finished interview with him, I waiting for a few days, and I got the phone call from secretary that I had been accepted and offered the job. And she told you that you were being offered the job, right? And at that point in time, you were offered a salary? Yes. It was $58,000, I think, yeah. What do you mean you think? Do you know who the house manager was before you? When I got to Palm Beach, one of the people who work over there, they told me that this guy working currently for him, Alfredo Rodriguez, yes. And that, told you that Rodriguez was the previous house manager? I think it was blank blank. She's currently employed with him. Okay, what was your understanding at that time as to the relationship between Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein? They were like partners in business. Okay, what business was that, if you know? I don't know what kind of business, but she was the one who organized, I would say, employment with this organization. So whatever I need, if I have some kind of problem, I contact her. She was the one who decided what I have to answer my problems with, what I was supposed to do. Day-to-day stuff. House at Palm Beach for you to ask her. You like to call her. Okay, when is the first time that you believe you recognized blank blank as a girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein? Because she's saying Ghislaine was just a business partner. And that he had a female companion. Yes. At one point, I don't remember exactly what year was it, he told us that blank will take some part of the organization, organizing, scheduling, and she would decide, which way household's supposed to work, and if you have any questions or problems, we could contact her. So since then, I figure out that she's the person who is close to him. When did he tell you that? I don't remember. Maybe a year ago, 2 years ago. So who is this person? Who are they protecting? Okay, I am only bringing this up to put it in context as to when you realized or were told information that led you to believe that blank blank was Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend. Was it while he was on house arrest, while he was in jail, before that, after that? I think before house arrest, yes. I mean jail sentence, before the jail sentence, right? I can tell you the jail sentence. At least the plea was June 30th, 2008. So you believe it was sometime prior to that date when you learned that blank blank was the girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein. Who is it? And she took on a Ghislaine Maxwell role. Who are they protecting? The time in April or May or around that area in 2005 when you think is the first time that you saw blank blank at the Palm Beach house. Yeah, I saw him walking with her, holding her hand. I mean, her hand, so I assume that there is more than friendship between them. Okay, and when you came in 2005, did you live at the house in Palm Beach? Yes, there's a small house attached to the main house. They call it Staff House. Who are they protecting? Who is this woman, this girlfriend? Okay, and for the most part, you were told, your testimony said you were told these were young females that were coming over for the purpose of giving massages. All right. When is the first time that you remember observing young females coming to the house? Was it the first day? Was it the second day? Is it a month? Is it... I don't remember, exactly what was the first, second, or third day during my, working hours. Like, I cannot tell you exactly which day it was. But yes, I noticed that those young women were coming for a massage. And most of the time I opened the door for them and let them in. All right, well, the civil aspect of these cases has been going on for almost a year and a half, almost 2 years. And prior to that, you're aware that there was a criminal investigation into that same activity, right? Yes. And through this discovery process, information leads us to an understanding that these young females were coming to the house in Palm Beach every day that Jeffrey Epstein was staying at the house. Is that fair to say? I wouldn't say every day. They come very often, but not every day. Maybe like if he was staying 4 days, probably like 2, maybe 3 days. Okay, so sometimes you remember the year. There being days when these young females I'm describing didn't come to the house, or at least you didn't see them, right? And for the most part, your testimony is that you were told these were young females that were coming over for the purpose of giving massage. Yes. Who told you that? Who told me that? Jeffrey Epstein's assistant, whoever they're protecting. Okay, were you told prior to you coming down here in February 2005 that there would be these young females coming over to the house very frequently to give massages? No. Okay, so when you first started working, you were not forewarned that these females would be coming to the house? No. All right. When was it did blank tell you? Tell me exactly what it was that blank told you so that I can use your own words to formulate questions. What was it that blank told you about these girls coming over for massages? Either she told me or she called me and let me know that, for example, certain times this woman she mentioned name will come over, so I should let her in. That was the procedure I followed. Okay, so just so that I understand what you're saying, you were saying that the conversation or the words that you were spoken to you would be, did she call you Janice? Right. Janice blank is coming over today at 9. Let her in. She's coming for a massage. Correct. I don't expect you to remember all the names. Is it fair to say that oftentimes there would be a massage in the morning by one of these females and a massage in the afternoon the same day? Yes. In fact, you know you're not the first witness who has testified as to what goes on in the house. So is my understanding correct that there was a specific appointment set and a time set for these girls to come over and that blank blank would keep that appointment book? I don't know if she kept appointment, but almost, yeah, all the time I knew who was coming, so maybe it was like 50-minute delay or they show up late, but I knew because I have to let them in, so it has to be, some kind of announcement that they are here. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that's really, it's all the important stuff is redacted. That's ridiculous. To Jeffrey from Protected. Hi, dear Jeffrey. How are you? Jeffrey, I just had a lunch with Barry. I told him that I'm really unhappy with my current modeling agency, that I don't have castings at all, and he told me that he'll try to help me to get into some other better agency. He said the nose, Faith Cates at Next, and that he gonna write about me. Also, he said that you know Faith as well, and he told me to ask you to write her as well, since she would listen to you. Please can you write Faith to see if she can meet me someday next week? Because I really want to switch into better agency. Thanks a lot in advance. Sending my love. Okay. Absolutely no information there. Looks like they took this one down too. Jess Staley, Friday, March 11th, 2011. Is there a problem with the letter of credit in favor of the modeling agency? I was told that Paul Morris is not returning my guy's calls. Look at all this redaction. Worked for Epstein as assistant to his assistant for about a year. Was very involved in PB and USVI. Palm Beach, U.S. Virgin Islands. Lives in blank with her husband, currently employed by blank in blank. Came to the U.S. as a model through a modeling agency blank in New York. Was married at the time, employed by Epstein. During the year, traveled around, including New York. Volatile employment. She had exit interview if she was ever contacted by law enforcement to let them know. Bruce Lyons represented her initially, paid by Epstein, was never interviewed, may have been deposed in a civil case, believes no contact with Epstein in years. Possibly some contact with blank and or New York office person. Tried to get her to work in USVI subsequently. Assistant U.S. Attorney. They even redacted their name. Gosh. Like, we can't figure out who the Assistant U.S. Attorney is. I mean, we have the date. It's ridiculous. These people are ridiculous. It's pathetic. Yes, that one was forwarded to Jean-Luc Brunel. Look at what I found on the internet, that whole weird one. It's just... I wish you an easy Ramadan and good luck on your journey. If you go to Ethiopia, my very good friend that owns a modeling agency would love to go, as he thinks there are interesting girls there. And who are we protecting this time, Bondi? Look at that. From Sarnoff to, look at it, protected. Look at that, it says criminal division here. Dear sirs, again, please note remarks concerning modeling allegations. The victims were lured, according to court files and my interviews, they could potentially model at Victoria's Secret, Les Wexner, Mr. Epstein's close friend, or MC2, modeling agency owned by Epstein, associate and friend, Frenchman. Why are they redacted, Pam Bondi? This is criminal. This in itself is criminal. She's breaking the law. By redacting people who are not victims, she's breaking the law. Look at all these redactions. Cellular number was interviewed telephonically. Present on the call was AUSA and special agent. Blank is an emergency physician. In 2002, Blank was doing a fellowship at Johns Hopkins in emergency medicine. There was a contract with the Secret Service to provide support for the president and his family in September 2002. Was on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet. On the jet with them was President Bill Clinton and his staffer David Slade and Doug Bland, 4 to 5 Secret Service agents, Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, Ronald Burkle, Casey Wasserman and his wife, Rodney Slater, who was the Secretary of Transportation, Ghislaine Maxwell, and about 4 young girls aged 20 to 22 years old, including blank and blank. To blank knowledge, blank was a masseur and blank was a model, and one of the other young women described herself as a ballerina. The reason for the trip was HIV research. They spent 10 days flying to 7 different countries. Blank flew back commercial from Mozambique when he was told his services were no longer needed. When Blank returned from his trip, he thought of how weird Epstein was, as he was quiet and super wealthy, of which no one knew how he had earned his money. Blank thought it was weird that Epstein flew with his former girlfriend Maxwell and 4 other women, that no one knew why they were there, as everyone else had a purpose. Blank had asked Blank what Epstein did for a living, and her response was, no one really knows. Spacey gave awkward hugs, of which Blank learned later Spacey was gay. Blank and Clinton had a conversation on the plane, which seemed to be a continued conversation from a previous time, and Clinton talked afterwards And Clinton told Bledsoe that he and Blank had been talking about philosophy and religion. Blank spoke with Blank and referred to Epstein as her boyfriend. Why are they protecting this person? And Blank seemed offended, asking why he would think that Epstein was her boyfriend. Blank described the jet with the cockpit up front, then a seating area where Clinton and his staff sat. Okay. Blank described the jet with the cockpit up front, then a seating area where Clinton and his staff sat, a kitchenette back seating area with couches and a bedroom in the far back with a sliding wooden door. Blank saw Blank sitting on the couch between the sliding door and the bedroom. She shut the door to the bedroom abruptly. It was very obvious to Blank that Blank did not want him to see or hear what was going on in that bedroom. Blank witnessed Epstein grab and rub Blank buttocks. They flew out of JFK and traveled to Ghana, Nigeria, Rwanda. The official delegation met them. I mean, how hypocritical. This is about HIV, and they're just spreading diseases all over the damn world. So the hypocrisy is just mind-blowing. Ghislaine gave multiple speeches for HIV research. Really? Oh, I'm sorry. Clinton gave multiple speeches for HIV research. Yeah, I'm sure he probably wants a cure for all STDs, right? To raise more funding and raise awareness of HIV. Epstein followed the president around, attending meetings with him. Doug had worked out an agreement with Epstein. Oh my good Lord. Worked out an agreement with this pedophile and the president of the United States of America. Epstein followed him around. Blank described herself as a former model who worked at a modeling agency. Blank was on the trip at the request of the modeling agency and was there to scout girls. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. What modeling agency? Was it Trump's? Blank did not see her meet with anyone. Blank was from LA and had been to Blank house parties. On this trip, Blank was a masseuse and told Blank that she had been to a lot of celebrity houses. From Blank to Jeffrey. From Pink. Now those three models are suing Next, which represents Carly Kloss, among other top names, for collecting and converting hundreds of thousands of dollars of their earmarked compensation remitted by third parties for bookings in the U.S., according to the court documents. Paderu claims Next owes her at least $400,000 and should pay her $1 million in punitive damages. Good Lord. They weren't even paying people properly. Get all that money. What an insane thing that models get paid $1 million. What a retarded world we live in. Now this is who I'd like to interview. Contact from press regarding Jeffrey Epstein. Hi, blank. I received a telephone message from blank. She has contacted us in the past and is currently making several calls to the FBI regarding Epstein. In her calls to the FBI, she claims that she is doing a documentary and writing a book regarding human trafficking and about Epstein's use of a modeling agency to assist him in trafficking underage girls into the U.S. to use in sexual conduct. FBI tried to get documentation from her source regarding these allegations, but the source didn't appear for interviews and never provided documentation. Sarnoff recently began calling FBI Miami to again make these allegations. It is my understanding the FBI has told Sarnoff that if her source wants to come forward with evidence and be interviewed, FBI is more than willing to listen, but Sarnoff is dissatisfied with that response. Obviously, I haven't called blank back, but I assume that she is calling us for the same reason. If so, can you direct her to blank at the FBI? Crazy. FBI, July 11th, 2019. Blank called the FBI National Threat Operations Center to report information about Epstein. Stated her next-door neighbor between the years of 98 and 2000 used to go to New York City seeking modeling at the Trump Modeling Agency. Blank said blank went on cruises to recruit models to set up a recruiter or head of the agency guy she was hooked up with. Said blank showed her a photo of the guy and she recalls it looking like Jeffrey Epstein. These redactions are ridiculous. Blank stated that blank used to sneak out from her home off to New York using acid and going to raves, was raped several times around this time period. Blank quit going to New York and went to a different school from blank. Seeking modeling at Trump Modeling Agency. From Protected. No, I have asked Dasha again if any news. Strange. Paris must probably mid next week before Valentine's Day. Then Moscow and Sochi want to meet blank friend. Blank is very friendly and responds right away. Will be easy during your next trip. P.S. Blank is working for a modeling agency again. Maybe she will finally start helping us again. We'll see her in Moscow. Helping how? Who? Why is Bondi protecting this person as well? This is 2018. Complainant reported. See, watch. Hotline tracker worksheet. Investigation assigned. Date and time 8/1/19. A follow-up call. Disconnected phone. Disconnected phone numbers. Were they a victim? How do they know? What is this? There's like no information on here. Follow-up required. Closed. As per AUSA, blank have blank callback on this one personally. AUSA? Are they talking about the Association of the United States Army? Is that what I'm getting here? As per Association of the United States Army, blank have blank call back on this one personally. Were they a victim? Yes. Unsure if perp was Jeffrey Epstein. When did they meet him? 78. Where? Palm Beach. Additional info. Caller reports that at 16, just prior to her 17th birthday, J.E., not sure it was, forcibly engaged in sexual intercourse with caller against her will. No prior sexual experience. Closed no further. What do you mean closed no further? Not accepting calls. Phone not reachable. Oh my gosh. Unable to leave voicemail. Look at this. July 29th, 19. Michael Smith. No useful information. Caller sounded unstable and incoherent. That's weird. States she was 23 years old when she was an escort and was drugged and had Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew as clients. No reported being an ST victim unrelated to Jeffrey Epstein. She has been diagnosed as having a mental health issue. I imagine so. Working at blank strip club in Pittsburgh, PA. Yes, reported being raped by Jeffrey Epstein, intercourse against her will. Same caller as lead number 125. Good Lord. It's like they had a hotline just for Jeffrey Epstein, right? And Bill Clinton. 161. Caller stated she is disabled due to emotional breakdown, had serious drug problems. How many lives did he destroy? At some point, caller is a former major with New Mexico State Police. This is Chris Myrant, Kenneth Darrell Turner, ex-DIA, Defense, attached assistant employee, retired Air Force. Now lives in Mexico, claims to work with Mexican federal authorities on ST. Is it sex trafficking? When did they meet him? 98 to 2000. Were they a victim? Friend? Possible victim? Best friend went on cruise ship between age 14 and 16 with a man who was promised to help her with modeling. His friend was sleeping with this man. The man was connected to the Trump modeling agency, is on Facebook, and they were limited contact since then. Trump is all over this. Just like the Charlie Kirk assassination. Russian citizen, possibly in San Francisco. Potential victim. Don't share that. AKA gave the FBI her contact information. He met her at a business contact. She doesn't think of herself as a victim. Gave him the email address for Jeffrey Epstein. Traveled with other women who were younger but didn't know ages. Jeffrey Epstein also stated at one point that he was a teacher. What might be something to look into. Must use Twitter. Check Twitter first. Same lead is 123. Could have useful information. Look at these. So many. Caller stated that she was casting for modeling with Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein digitally penetrated her vagina with his fingers, called anyone in regards. I can't read that. Look at all of these. It just keeps going and going. Not at this time may be able to forward when George, a Swiss citizen who was recruiting young girls to work nude on corporate jets. And again, protected. From Richard Kahn to Jeffrey Epstein, subject Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump bracing for Vicky Ward's book. Left with a bag of goodies, while he still could, shamelessly one day after Epstein died. But could you imagine spending your evening there? No, thank you. Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump bracing for release of Vicky Ward book. Richard Kahn felt the need to share that with Jeffrey. And that book is all about the crimes of the Kushner family, I believe. Dear Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, Jared Kushner, New York's youngest powerhouse publisher, is celebrating the 25th anniversary of the New York Observer on Thursday, March 14th. You are cordially invited. Look at that. Oh, the Observer is honoring those who have defined and shaped New York since 1987. The best, brightest, and most influential in culture, media, and finance. And take a look at the list. They're honoring Cory Booker and Donald Trump at the same party. Look at other derelicts. We have Mariska Hargitay, Matt Lauer, Ivanka Trump, Harvey Weinstein, Blake Lively. Wow, what a bunch of winners, huh? That's New York's best and brightest. It explains a lot about the current situation in New York, doesn't it? Mayor Michael Bloomberg will be by his side to toast you all. Wonder if Jeffrey went. You are now a verb. We got Bannon. Tuesday Bannon from Jeffrey. Jared Kushner security clearance downgrade. Interesting, right? I guess Bannon and Epstein had a more than just a professional relationship. You can't make this stuff up. Of course, it's not found. It's fine. Subject, Trump considering son-in-law Jared Kushner for next chief of staff. All right, let's try. See if this one will pull up. From Bannon to Jeffrey, February 27, 2018. Okay. Kushner loses access to top secret intelligence. From Jeffrey to Richard Kahn, March 1st, 2018. How much did we pay for our last palms? From Ingrid. Not great for Josh or APO. Jared Kushner. I'm going to have to try to pull this one up. I don't know if I will, though. I'll be able to. So, nope, these articles are just old and have been since taken down. A lot of them. Something about Apollo. To Epstein from Peggy Siegel. Title Lunch Today. Tamara Mellon is having lunch with Wendy Murdoch today, but we'll go to Dasha Raman's party tonight. Why don't you stay? I am walking down to Sam and Abby's house now on the beach. Looks crowded from my terrace view. Will report. Spoke to Taiwan. We can get a table, any number, anytime. Call or email me what you want to do. I might take a tennis lesson at 4, depends on your schedule. Brooke Nedick just emailed me. I am on 150 most powerful New Yorkers list in the Observer. Thank God I am friendly with the owner, Jared Kushner. Peg. From Jeffrey to Jabor Y. Who's Jabor Y? And as you see, they are going after family first. What? What? Is Jared Kushner punishing Qatar over a soured real estate deal? A new report shines light on the first son-in-law's past dealings with the man who owns the sovereign state. It's back in 2017. In 2007, at the ripe old age of 26, Jared Kushner made a big splash in the New York City real estate industry when he bought 666 Fifth Avenue for what was then a record-setting $1.8 billion. Kushner's companies, which Jared took over after his father Charles went to prison for, among other things, a very classy revenge scheme that involved hiring a prostitute to seduce his brother-in-law for cooperating with a federal probe against him, investing $500 million in the property and financed the rest through debt. Even without the rapidly approaching financial crisis, which Jared failed to see coming, the deal looked crazy. With the building almost completely occupied, the revenue coming in covered just 2/3 of Kushner Co.'s costs. When the global financial crisis did hit, the family was forced to sell the tower's retail space for $525 million. By 2009, 665th was reportedly making just 69 cents on rent for every $1 it owed. By 2011, the skyscraper was teetering near insolvency, and almost half the office space was sold to Vornado Trust Realty for an $80 million capital injection. Tried and failed to get a $500 million bailout from Qatar. So that's why he bought the company? These people are nuts. Interesting. From Jabor Y to Jeffrey. Nicole Rebus to Jeffrey Epstein. New York Post, Kushner associate linked to Russia-funded Facebook, Twitter investments. Jay, in case you missed this story, I'm around if you want to talk. And Kushner associate linked to Russia-funded Facebook, Twitter investments. A Russian tech magnate who holds shares of a company co-owned by President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, invested millions of dollars backed by the Kremlin into Twitter and Facebook. A report on Sunday revealed. Reported. So Epstein kept up with Jared Kushner and Apollo. It would appear. This one is to Jeffrey from Brad Karp. Bloomberg said former White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci, Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin, Senior Advisor Jared Kushner, an attorney. Did we get bank appraisal? AYH. Junk bond king. Bloomberg said former White House Communication Director, blah, 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 Senior Advisor Jared Kushner support the pardon for Milken. Milken has a net worth of $3.7 billion, according to Forbes. The financier who pioneered the market for high-yield bonds while at Drexel Burnham Lambert was sentenced to 10 years in prison and permanently banned from the security industry by the Securities and Exchange Commission. His prison term was reduced to 2 years. Of course it was. And this is a good place to stop for now. We can check out these connection webs. There's a lot of text messages from Steve Bannon and others. Somebody with the name of Benny as well, which is interesting. And tons. We haven't even gotten into Bill Gates yet. There's so much more to go. I will bring those to you as soon as I possibly can. You have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye. Can help survivors of such heinous crimes. Go to EpsteinJustice.com and join the movement.